The DID system was created because Jax was abused when he was younger, and it left him emotionally drained and humiliated, so Axel came in as a protector to protect him. But then one night, Jax's father, decided to set fire to the house. Jax was awoken to the smell of smoke. The house was on fire. While trying to escape the house, Jax was severely scarred, and that is when Axel came in as the protector, as said before, due to the humiliation and abuse caused by his father. Jax could no longer stand it, so Axel came in as part of the DID system at that point in time. One day, Jax meets Brother Mayhem, who gives him a mask to cover his face, where it was burned. Jax thanks him, tells him the story of how it happened, and then accepts the mask from Brother Mayhem and decides to try it to make sure it fits and it covers what he wants. How do you think it's gonna look? Jax was finally happy. Jax was unaware of Axel at the time. The abuse was continuing, but Jax had blackouts and memory loss and didn't know what was going on. Finally, he got diagnosed with DID and became aware of Axel's presence. However, the abuse did continue from Jax's father. Jax's father would constantly be yelling at him and calling him names and telling him how stupid he looked, even though Jax had the mask from Brother Mayhem. There were many times where he couldn't stand his father's yelling. There were many times when Jax thought of unaliving himself because he just couldn't deal with it. But deep inside, Axel kept telling him, "Leave it to me, I will take care of it." So Axel came out more and more often and dealt with the abuse from Jax's father. Jax's father did not understand what was going on with his son, nor did he care at that point. When Jax could no longer stand the abuse and name-calling from his father, Jax decided to reach out once again to Brother Mayhem. After talking to Brother Mayhem and telling him what was going on with his father, Jax asked Brother Mayhem a rather important question. Brother Mayhem was hesitant at first to answer the question, but Jax asked him, "Can you please turn me? I want to be a vampire too." Brother Mayhem was hesitant at first, but then he decided to turn Jax. At that point in time, he told Jax everything that he needed to know about being a vampire. Jax was grateful. After being turned by Brother Mayhem, Jax was finally starting to heal. The pain and the abuse didn't get to him as much anymore. Axel was still around, but not needed as much. The scars eventually started to heal too, to where Jax started to look normal again, and didn't really need the mask that Brother Mayhem had gave him, although he was grateful for the mask. Once again, Brother Mayhem came to Jax. Brother Mayhem had told Jax how to travel through the realms and back and forth. He also told him everything else that he needed to know about being a vampire, and how rough the first couple years were going to be. Or should I say the first couple months. Brother Mayhem taught Jax everything he needed to know. Which people were the best and which people weren't. The first couple months, as Brother Mayhem had told Jax, was rough. Jax had found himself drawn to local cemeteries and was hanging out there at night, with no clue why. Was the vampire in him? Jax's father kept abusing him and kept yelling and name-calling. Jax was unfazed by the abuse. He just took it at that point in time because, being a vampire, he really didn't care and had no pain caused by it. One day, Jax could no longer take his father's abuse, so he murdered his father by biting him and drinking all of his blood. That was the first time Jax had fed on another living being. Jax was unsure what to do after murdering his father, so he called Brother Mayhem. Brother Mayhem told Jax it was okay, asked how he was feeling. Jax, having fed on his first human being, felt amazing. Brother Mayhem told him that's normal, and Brother Mayhem invited Jax to join him on a trip to the Shadow Realm, which was in the Chaos Continuum. Upon entering the Chaos Continuum, Jax gets a chance to see what Brother Mayhem actually does. While visiting the Chaos Continuum, something about it makes Jax feel like he belongs there. He's unsure what it is, but the Shadow Realm is an amazing place. It is part of the Chaos Continuum, where the planet is called Gaia, and something about it just draws Jax to it. Once it was time to leave the Chaos Continuum and go back to the real world, Jax really didn't want to go, but something inside him told him for right now he had to go, and that he would be back eventually in the Shadow Realm visiting, again most likely. One night, while hanging out in the cemetery and just thinking about things, Jax receives a call from Brother Mayhem. Brother Mayhem tells Jax that it's been months since they've traveled to the Chaos Continuum. He asked Jax if he would like to go back. Jax thought about it and decided that yes, he definitely wanted to go back. Jax and Brother Mayhem traveled to the Chaos Continuum once more. Upon entering the Chaos Continuum, Jax again felt the strong connection to it and that he belonged there. Jax finally tells Brother Mayhem about this, and Brother Mayhem tells him, well, if you want to stay, nothing says you can't. After much debate, when Brother Mayhem tells Jax that if he wants to stay, he can stay because nothing says he can't stay there in the Chaos Continuum. Jax debates about it and finally decides to stay. Now he just had to figure out what he was going to do while he was there. It was still something about it that was drawing him to it, which was the reason he decided to stay. After some time, he decides to take a job and run the reunion department in the afterlife of the Chaos Continuum, which was the Shadow Realm. The reunion department, he would reunite souls with their loved ones that had passed before them. And that's how we got to where we are today. Also, after some time, Jax decides to join the Karmafia and go on missions with the Karmafia.